Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Radha Madhava Ju ki Prabhupada ki Jai Om Vishnu Para Paramahansa Pariprajakachacha Ashtottara Satasi Srimad Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai ISKCON Pratishta Acharya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Jayananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai Prem Sri Gaur Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shyamakund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki Jai Sri Vrindavan Dham ki Jai Navadip Sri Mayapur Dham ki Jai Gangamai ki Jai Jamunamai ki Jai Bhakti Devi ki Jai Tulasi Maharani ki Jai Sri Hari Nam Sankirtan Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glory to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nevasisha Shanyavari Paschatyadesh Tarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 6, text numbers 3 and 4. Number 4 is on the board. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Prak. That next. Did I say, what am I supposed to say now? Translation is the first. What's the usual process? Do we chant that word for word or the whole shloka? Okay, we chant the whole shloka. My memory is not very good. Prakalpa Visham Etam Smritim Te Muni Shatam Nahi Esha Vyadhat Kala Esha Sarva Nirakriti Prakalpa Vishayam Etam Smritim Te Muni Shatma Nahi Esha Vyabhadhat Kala Esha Sarva Nirakriti Prakalpa Vishayam Etam Smritim Te Muni Shatma Nahi Esha Vyabhadhat Kala Esha Sarva Nirakriti. Prakalpa Vishayametam Smritim Te Muni Shatama Nahi Esha Vyabhadhat Kala Esha Sarva Nirakriti. Prakalpa Vishayametam Smritim Te Muni Satatama Nahi Esha Vyabhadhat Kala Esha Sarva Nirakriti. Prakalpa Vishayametam Namataji. Prakalpa Vashayam Etam Shmitam Te Muni Satmanam Nayesha Vyavatat Kala Esha Sarva Kritihi Prakalpa Vishayam Esha Smriti Te Muni Sammata Nahi Esha Samam Kala Esha Sarva Nirakriti Prakalpa Vishayam Itam Smritim Te Muni Atmanam Nayesha Vyavatat Kala Esha Sarva Nirakriti Prayo Kalpa, the duration of Brahma's day. Vishayam, subject matter. Etam, all these. Smritim, remembrance. Te, your. Muni Shatama, O great sage. Na, not. He, certainly. Esha, all these. Vyavadat, made any difference. Kala, course of time. Esha, all these. Sarva, all. Nirakti, annihilation. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace of Jananivasa Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O great sage, time annihilates everything in due course. So how is it that this subject matter, which happened prior to the day of Brahma, is still fresh in your memory, undisturbed by time? Please repeat. O great sage, time annihilates everything in due course. So how is it that this subject matter, which happened prior to the day of Brahma, is still fresh in your memory, undisturbed by time? Translation, text number 3. Swayambhuva kavya britya varitam ti parambaya katam chedam udak shrishakshi kali prati kalevaram. Translation. O son of Brahma, how did you pass your life after initiation? How did you attain a body, having quit your old ones in due course? Purport. Sri Narad Muni in his previous life, was just like an ordinary maidservant's son. So how he became so perfectly transformed into spiritual body of eternal bliss and knowledge is certainly important. Sri Vyasadeva desired him to disclose the facts for everyone's satisfaction. Text 4. O great sage, time annihilates everything in due course, so how is it that this subject matter, which happened prior to the day of Brahma, is still fresh in your memory, undisturbed by time? Purport. as spirit is not annihilated even after the annihilation of this material body, so spiritual consciousness is not annihilated. Sri Narad developed this spiritual consciousness even when he had his material body in the previous kalpa. Consciousness of the material body means spiritual consciousness expressed through the medium of a material body. The consciousness is inferior, destructible, and perishable, but superconsciousness of the supra mind in the spiritual plane is as good as the spirit soul, and it is never annihilated. So he is repeating the same things we're hearing again and again. That everything used in Krishna's service becomes transcendental. This is how Narad Muni's got a spiritual body. He was initiated properly by the sages. He served them. He inquired from them, and they imparted knowledge. And so the question that they're asking, how come you can remember all this is fresh? This happened in the previous kalpa, and everyone else, we all went back into the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu during the partial annihilation, and everybody comes out again with the breathing of the Lord, and everybody's forgotten everything. We come back in, we can't even remember our last life, what to speak of so many millions of years of during the annihilation. So then the idea is that because it's the super consciousness of the supra mind, ordinary mind and consciousness, they're not sufficient. But there is Prabhupada calling it super consciousness and supra mind. Means transcendental. Supra. So just like the example of fire, iron rod, you put the iron rod in the fire for sometimes, then it becomes red. Now there's iron, but it's become fire. Anything you touch, you burn. You touch a paper, you touch some wood, you touch anything, you will burn. It's acting like fire. It's not wood anymore. It's acting like fire. So the material mind and senses, when they're engaged in the service of Krishna, then they take on that supraman, super consciousness. So then it doesn't become annihilated. Just as Prabhupada says, the spirit soul is not annihilated after annihilation of the material body. So Krishna is saying that when I appear in my transcendental body, I appear every millennium, but my transcendental body doesn't deteriorate. Krishna says that the soul cannot be burned by fire, can't be wet by the water. This is previous to it. It's been annihilation, and the Lord is desiring Brahma to create the universe after the annihilation. Oh, it's pretty dirty. Lord Brahma was looking over the lotus, and he saw that because fire was raging, so many everything was burned to ashes, and water was gushing everywhere for so many millions of years. Now you can imagine how messy it was. You look down and saw all that, the total devastation, and all that black from the wood and burned charred wood, charcoal, and all the water. So Lord Brahma, he has to have a Maha cleanup and start the universe again, start the universe, the second partial creation. Again we'll start. So therefore, Narada as a boy, because he had the mercy of the great sages, devotees who blessed him, then he had his spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness. So therefore that consciousness wasn't destroyed at the time of annihilation, just like the spirit soul is not destroyed. The body is destroyed, but the spirit soul is not. So the consciousness fixed in Krishna and transcendence, it doesn't become destroyed like the rest of the material world. So therefore he carried that consciousness, that spiritual consciousness over. Krishna says a little knowledge will save one from the greatest dangers, because that knowledge, it goes with you eternally. So this is not destroyed. When everything is destroyed, as Krishna says, when everything is destroyed in this, that part remains exactly as it was before. This Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says. When everything is destroyed, then there is one part that stays as it is. That is my supreme abode. Which abode? Mayapur Dham ki. Because just after the pralaya, the great flood, then Lord Matsya, he saved the Vedas, put the Vedas on his back, and he's killed those demons, Kaitiba and Kaitiba. Anyway, two demons, Madhu and Kaitiba. They'd stolen the Vedas from Brahma. What do you see? So anyway, somehow or another Krishna killed them and rescued the Vedas and put them on the back of the form of Matsya avatar, because the universe was half full of water. So then the great devastation began on schedule. Every 430 million. And so then everything is completely flooded, destroyed. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, but that part remains as it is. That's my special abode. So that was Navadvip. They were floating on the ocean, and then they saw a huge lotus. Huge lotus was there. That was Mayapur, that was Navadvip. It's in the shape of a great lotus. It doesn't get destroyed when the universe is destroyed. It floats on the flood waters. It doesn't get inundated. So when Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita, that part remains as it is. It doesn't get destroyed. He's talking about Mayapur in Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, so that part remains, that is the consciousness. If you're Krishna conscious, then your consciousness will remain transcendental. So everybody has a spirit, soul, body. You have a body, and you can realize that body because it's eternal. Sat Chitananda, like Narad Muni. Prabhupada says you can realize the spirit soul just as Krishna is realized by Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. Vedanti Tatvitas Tat Jnanam Abhyam Brahmaniti, Paramatmiti, Bhagavaniti. The learned transcendentalists know these three aspects of the absolute truth is three aspects, as Brahman, as Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So Prabhupada said Krishna is manifested like that, these three. So similarly, the jiva, the spirit soul, can also manifest three features to the yogis, to the devotees. So like Krishna is revealed as Brahman, so he reveals yourself as Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. So you can realize yourself as Brahman, spirit, transcendence. Then as localized, like the Paramatma is localized, you are also localized in the heart. The spirit soul is sitting in the heart. And Prabhupada said it is egg-shaped and glowing. So that is localized realization you can have of the spirit soul. And then the third aspect is Bhagavan. This means Krishna, his forms, his pastimes with his... So you also have a form. So you also have, like Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan, we have Brahman, the localized aspect, glowing, egg-shaped, and we have our eternal form of Krishna, eternal form, like Krishna's, to associate with Krishna, to dance with Krishna. So you can realize yourself also in three aspects. It's a progression. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, I think it's the third canto, it may be the prayers, Hamsa Guya prayers, maybe. And Prabhupada is quoting Hari Bhakti Vilas, and he is talking about how by some process you can turn bell metal into gold. Bell metal is kashi. You can turn it into gold by some process. You have to. Some devotee asked Prabhupada, "Can we make gold?" Because one of the how you make it, you have mercury. You know, mercury is a liquid metal, and what do they mix it with? Is it urine? No. Mix. Anybody knows? What do they mix to make with mercury? Is it urine?
Take the mercury, then pass it out.
Oh, that's right. Okay. So they drink mercury because it's liquid, and then they pass it out. And when you put that liquid on the kashi, the bell metal, you have a brass pot or something, a bell metal pot. When you pour this mixture of, after drinking the mercury, you put that water onto the bell metal, it becomes gold. So the devotee asked Prabhupada, "Can we make gold?" He said, "First you drink mercury." Mercury is deadly poisonous, you can't drink it. So it's a process. If you can do it, if you can drink mercury. So he's using that example, just by this alchemic combination, this mixture turns bell metal into gold. So similarly, by the process of bhakti, by the process of devotion, the material living entity, material body and consciousness can be transformed into spirit. So Prabhupada says we have to accept that, or Sanatana Goswami is quoting, you have to accept this because it's a statement of the Vedas, that they actually, you get a spiritual body. At the time of initiation, you get a spiritual body. Krishna recognizes you from that time by that body. So, what are we talking about? Oh yeah, we must accept, Sanatana Goswami said, we must accept it on the strength of the Vedas and authority, that one actually gets a spiritual body at the time of initiation. But when we were getting initiation, we would swaha, another 2 arms didn't come up or anything like that. We didn't get 2 arms or anything. We didn't notice any change. But they said, you get a spiritual body. But then Prabhupada says, he said the gross body, that may not change. He said, but the subtle body changes. He said, everybody knows. Before you came to Krishna conscious, before you came to Krishna conscious, you were in Maya. And all of a sudden you come to Krishna consciousness, and 24 hours a day it's Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Krishna service, Krishna's prasad, Krishna's... It's all Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. All day. It wasn't there before. Everyone was chasing after material sense gratification. But now all of a sudden, Krishna, 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 Krishna. So Prabhupada says, but you can see the subtle body's changed. Because now it's only Krishna. Before it was, where is sense gratification? So he said you can see that positively. Experience that we're all sitting here. Here in Bhagavatam. We could be chasing our senses. But we're all here. So the subtle body changes into and of the 2 bodies, the gross body and the subtle body is more important, because by the work of this gross body you get the subtle body. Yeah, subtle body is more important, because by the subtle body you can determine your next body. So therefore, so he's saying, yeah, we have to accept that you do get a spiritual body. So Narad Muni, he got one. He could remember from the previous couple. He got his spiritual body. And they're asking us, what happened to you, Narad? You were only a little kid, you're only 5 years old. What happened when everybody left? Then your mum died. And there you were, 5 years old. What did you do? And why you can't remember that? How come you remembered that spiritual body, your previous activities as a maidservant, when we've just been through a whole pralaya, a whole devastation of the universe where everybody died, but you can remember activities? This is the question you're asking. So, Prabhupada in purple mentions it. Sri Narad developed his spiritual consciousness even when he had a material body, as in the previous kalpa. Consciousness of the material body means spiritual consciousness expressed through the medium of a material body. Consciousness of the material body means spiritual consciousness expressed through the medium of a material body. The consciousness is inferior, destructible, and perverted, but superconsciousness, or the supramind, in the spiritual plane is as good as the pure spirit soul and is never annihilated. I was actually reading someone. Can't see it. Did we read it? Anyway, it says just as one wakes up in the morning, and remembers his body and continues the activities of his body. So that's how Narada Muni, he said he went through a whole pralaya like that, and when it was finished, he woke up, he could remember everything because his body didn't change. Or his consciousness didn't change. Consciousness didn't change. That's anyway, what else? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, in the Krishna book, I'm not sure, is it? Maybe in that chapter with the when Lord Brahma stole the calves and boys. Anyway, Prabhupada says that why everyone is attracted to the body. Because it brings pleasure. It brings pleasure. And we become attracted to the body because why we are attracted to the body? Because spirit soul is there. When the spirit soul is not there, the body is not attractive. Quickly burn it, bury it. Nobody likes dead body. It's not attractive. But when the soul is there, the body is attractive. So it's actually the soul that is attractive, not the body. So why is the soul attractive? Because the soul is a part and parcel of Krishna, and Krishna is the supreme attractive. He is supremely attractive, so we are part and parcel of Krishna. So we're also, the soul is very attractive, not as attractive as Krishna's, but it is attractive. It's not so quantity-wise. Krishna is unlimited. We are small. So ultimately, it's Krishna who is that all-attractive center. And Krishna comes in the material world to show his attractive form and his attractive pastimes and his attractive names and everything about Krishna. He comes in these places. Yeah, first of all, one loves himself best in this world. Then second, he loves others. That we are selfish. And if Prabhupada said, if there is someone says, fire, fire, fire in the room, everybody runs out. The fire in the house is on fire. And my baby's inside. My baby's still inside, I better go and get it. Oh, I got someone else inside, but the first reaction was myself. I saved myself. This is a natural reaction. Yeah, then secondly, you think of others. But you only deal with others, but they're only pleasing because they please you. That's why you're associating with other people. Only if they bring you pleasure. Otherwise they don't associate. When there's no pleasure then, Prabhupada says divorce. Separate. Yes. So yeah, then the soul is attractive because it's Krishna's part and parcel. And because Krishna is the supreme whole, he comes and displays his pastime in his different forms. He gives us an opportunity. Here I am. This is what I look like. This is my activity. This is my Jamuna, my Govardhan. These are my friends, my cows. Here in Radharani and Gopis. He comes and shows all this wonderful pastime. Now we have something to meditate and talk about. If he didn't come, what would we do? Like the Muslims, there is a good God, but you cannot see him. He's too great to... Oh, Krishna comes and he shows. If he doesn't show, then it's very difficult. That's why so many impersonal, different impersonal means and ways and systems. And most of them are all impersonal because they haven't got a description of God. What does he look like? But we understand who is Krishna. Vyasadeva has given us Srimad Bhagavatam to explain Krishna and his pastimes. Otherwise, it's very difficult to understand Krishna without the mercy of the pure devotees who are revealing what is Krishna, what is his form, his name, pastimes. Okay. Any comments or questions? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Bol.
Is possible you can say some sign of Radhamada because for us it's very high. You are so very near to Radhamada. You can please say some pastimes. You have some experience. Long time you were in the PI. Like if you can have some enthusiastic for all these people. Like, is possible? How to do it?
I'm not quite getting it.
Can you tell some pastimes of Radha Madhava? Because long time you do service in the temple very enthusiastically, and we are very far from deities and you are very close.
No, this is it. Radha Madhava's pastime this is ISKCON, whole worldwide, especially here. Especially here. This is their pastime. Navadvip and Vrindavan is none different. So especially in Navadvip. And Adbhut Mandir hoy Vikash Gauranga Nitya Seva hoy Vikash. A wonderful temple will spring here. Who is the center of that deity? Deities is who is the center of the wonderful temple? Radha Madhava, according to Jayadeva Goswami. He said that the temple there will be a wonderful temple here. Jayadeva Goswami, this is 200 years or so before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, made that prediction, which Nityananda gave to Jiva. Jayadeva Goswami, he was living here at Pritukund, Balaldi, Pritukunda by Chaitanya Man. And he was the Pandit for King Lakshman Sen. And he wrote Dasavatar Stotra there, Gita Govinda. He was living on the bank of the Balal Digi. Digi means a long pond. And so he wrote something and he described there'll be a city and also a wonderful temple, and the name of the deities will be Radha Madhava in that temple. So he named the deities. What would be the presiding deity of this? So that's Radha Madhava. So this is all their project. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Radha Madhava is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he's given us so much service to do. Vidi Vidi Chato Akanagari Gram Savatra Pacha Hoibamornam. Every town and village of the world, the holy name is going to be, we are doing. We got this savor. So many ways we can fulfill the desires of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He has ordered, I am ordering every person in the universe, spread Krishna consciousness. Mahaprabhu is Radha Krishna. So this is their pastime. What you're doing is part of Radha Madhava's pastime. You're serving Mayapur, you're serving the mission, you're serving somewhere. Out of your humility, you're asking pastime, but you're in the pastime. You're part of Radha Madhava's pastime. You're part of Gauranga's pastime. Chanting on Hare Krishna. Hari Bol, you're all Radha Madhava's devotees and Gauranga's devotees. And you're asking me, out of your humility, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
I'm doing a little strange question. I hope you will answer.
Can you speak a little bit louder because I'm deaf?
My question is a little strange. It's not very spiritual, but just spiritual. Anyway, how possible, what's going per person inside when they think to society, that spirit, that soul, and like I know some two persons like this when continue living, now they are present in body, but they continue want to do suicide. They are called, they are have some fight sometimes with Bhagavan, another demigods, but then I want to understand, they are Mayavadi or they are just suffering and they don't understand food. Because I'm working with these people as a psychologist, but I can't help this point.
I couldn't quite catch it.
What is the mentality of people who wants to do suicide?
Want to do suicide?
Because Mataji working, she's a psychologist and she's working with such a people. And she knows at least two persons who continuously wants to commit suicide and she cannot understand why, what's going on in their consciousness, or they Mayavadi is inclined, or they just so much suffering, or what, why?
But there's one point she said.
Continue, they are fighting with demigods.
That point I want to clarify. You said this person, they want to fight with God or demigods.
Yeah, and they want to do suicide. They no interest to live. They said this world is not good, but some concept is no coming true.
They simply just want to commit suicide.
They have patience.
There are patients?
Yes.
So what's the actual question?
They Krishna devotees. They born in spiritual in Mayapur. They live in long time, chanting, sometimes fighting. Like, what's going on? How I can serve this procedure? I'm stuck.
First of all, it's an offense. It's a Vaishnava aparad. There's one person committed suicide here a long time ago. Old man. And so Jayapataka Maharaj asked me, he said, what do you think? I said, well, at least he'll get a ghost body in Mayapur. Commit suicide, you get ghost body. You have to tell them that, because that's horrible. You don't have a body, you can't. You have a subtle body, you can't touch, you sense gratification. It's horrible. So if they don't want a body, then Krishna's sitting in the heart. He knows that they don't want to. They want to kill his body. You don't want a body, okay? You take birth as a ghost. You don't have a body, but you have the subtle body. Anyway, Jayapataka Maharaj said, "What do you think?" I said, "Well, at least he'll take his birth as a ghost in Mayapur." Jayapataka Maharaj said, "He's an offender. He's a Vaishnava aparad." He said, "The Guru was giving him initiation, giving him mantra, taking him back to college. What right does he have to take his life? It's unnatural. He's an offender. So if they're initiated, are they initiated? Then they're gonna.
One is Dikshit also, one is only Hari.
One is?
Yes.
Yeah, they'll make offense against Guru. The aparad is much, much worse than being a ghost. Yeah, they'll commit. Why do they approach Guru if they want to commit suicide? They approach Guru to go back to Godhead. Why do they want to go back to the Bhuta, place of the Bhutas? Just on the Antariksha, where the Earth's atmosphere finishes, there's a plane there, the Antariksha, where all the ghosts come. They all come down at night, hundreds and hundreds and thousands. They like to play around, and they're like monkeys, you know. Disturb your breathing, and you have a life there. When you go dreaming, at night time you're dreaming, there's a thread-like connection. When you leave your body, the soul goes with the subtle body, and there's a connection, there's like a thread. So the ghosts, and they try to play with that thread sometimes and stop your breathing, or you're out of the body, you can't come back in because they're so they're like the ghost monkeys. They like to play around, scare people. Everybody's scared of ghosts. So they like to do. But anyway, it's offensive for devotees to do that. So tell them that you'll make a Vaishnava aparad, and you'll better remain the ghost and kill yourself than make aparad. Hare Krishna. No more ghost stories. Anyways, morning is a good time for ghosts and not evening. Scary. Yeah.
So Narada Muni, he got his spiritual body. This is his eternal spiritual body. It's like, and when material creation disappeared, where he goes to Vaikuntha, and what he's doing when material world going back to Mahadishnu.
No, he said he entered into it. They all enter into that in the Yoga Nidra.
Narada Muni.
Yeah, and others, all the transcendentalists. The rishis were there also, Maitreya Rishi. Anyway, rishis, they also went with Narada. They went as those sages and everything, Marichi, who were those who are interested in establishing Dharma in the material world. Those great sages who look after the world, disseminate knowledge in the world, and things like that. So those sages, self-realized sages. So they go into yoga nidra. Like Vishnu's in yoga nidra, sleeping. So they go into like a mystic sleep, and they're not disturbed by the dissolution of the universe.
He's not going to Vaikuntha?
Yeah, Narada, he can go anytime. It doesn't matter for him. He can go to the spiritual world or material world. He's got that ability to act freely. He's a pure devotee of the Lord, so his worshipful deity is Narayana. But he worships everyone. He's always there. Where Ram's pastimes, he'll be there. Krishna's pastimes, he's there. He's always there anyway. Srivastaka Navadip pastime. So Narada is always, he can go wherever he likes. He's very merciful. So only by the mercy of the devotees actually we can come to understand something about the material world and the dangers of the material world. And so go back home, back to God is Prabhupada's slogan. Why not? Horrible place. But by the mercy of these great devotees, we have sacrificed everything to serving Krishna. And Narada is so great. He was Ambarish, Maharaj Ambarish, famous personality, he used everything for Krishna. His hands for washing the temple, his feet for going to the temple, his tongue for tasting prasad, and all those 9 angas of bhakti. Ambarish Maharaj. And he was talking to Narada Muni, and he said, I've got a brother. He's a real demon. He doesn't like devotees or anything, or sages. He's a real demon. Can you preach to him if you see him? So Narada Muni said, okay. So the one time he remembered, I'm near that place where Ambarish's brother was living, so I'll go and preach to him. He'd asked me if I could. So he went to preach to Ambarish's brother. As soon as Ambarish's brother saw him coming, he started picking up rocks and he was throwing stones. Get out of here, you lazy bums. You don't do any work. You're in society. You live off society. You don't contribute anything. He was throwing stones and really, really aggressive and abusive. And Narada Muni is running, ducking from all these stones. And so Narada shouted out, anyway, just remember one thing. What is the value of one moment's association with a pure devotee of the Lord? And the brother got more angry and chased Narada Muni away, and Narada Muni had to flee for his life, his eternal life. He had to flee. And anyway, at the time of leaving his body, he went to Yamaraj, Ambarish's brother, and Yamaraj said, there's no way, I got thousands and thousands of books of you're not going to see the light of day for billions and billions of births. No way. Any last request before you go through your punishments and hells? And he suddenly remembered all that Narada Muni said to me. So he said, yes, but what is the value of one moment's association with a pure devotee? Yamaraj said, I never had that question before, but I don't know what the value is. Let's go and see Lord Brahma, he'll know. So they went off to see Lord Brahma, Ambarish, and his brother, and Narada. And they went to Lord Brahma, and I asked him the question. He said, I don't know, I can't answer that question. This is Shiva, Vaishnava Nam Jata Shambhu, greatest of all Vaishnava Shiva. So they went to Shiva Loka, and then we have this question. What is the value of one month's association with a devotee of the Lord? No, I can't answer that. Only Vishnu can answer. Let's go and ask Vishnu. So they all go off to Vaikuntha. And they ask Vishnu, can you answer this question? What is the value of one moment's association with a pure devotee? There is no value. I cannot see the end to it. No, I cannot answer that question. I can't answer it, I'm sorry. So I said, okay, so then we'll go back to our own abodes. Shiva can go to Shiva Brahma's on his way. And they said, but what about the Ambarish's brother? He's so bad. Where shall he go? And Vishnu said, he's here now. He might as well stay here. Okay. One moment's association with a pure devotee. Even though he's so sinful, he got to stay in Vaikuntha. So this is the value of a moment's association. Nitai go Premanandi. Hari. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you.